Understanding the pain of jealousy. Jealousy is a common emotional experience that many urban dwellers encounter in their daily lives. Whether it manifests in relationships, work environments, or social situations, jealousy can lead to feelings of resentment and insecurity that affect our overall well-being. Imagine living in a bustling city like New York where the pressure to succeed and be liked is palpable. You see your friend getting a promotion, a coveted apartment, or even the admiration of others. Suddenly, those feelings of happiness for them can quickly morph into jealousy. But what exactly is jealousy, and why does it cause such distress? At its core, jealousy stems from the fear of losing something we value dearly, a significant other, a close friendship, or even our sense of social status. This fear can make us feel vulnerable and threatened, leading to a cycle of negative thoughts and emotions. In contrast, envy is the desire for what someone else possesses. While both feelings are deeply rooted in human nature, understanding the distinction between them is vital for addressing and overcoming jealousy. Stoic philosophy offers profound insights into managing these emotions. The Stoics teach that the world is inherently impermanent and that everything we cherish is subject to change. Marcus Aurelius, the renowned Stoic philosopher, famously stated, "Bear in mind that everything that exists is already fraying at the edges and in transition." This acknowledgement of impermanence helps us to recognize that our attachments, whether to people, possessions, or status, are ultimately fleeting. Living in a fast-paced environment can amplify feelings of jealousy as we often compare ourselves to others. The social media landscape, for example, can exacerbate these feelings by constantly showcasing the highlight reels of others' lives. However, Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus from external comparisons to internal virtues. By doing so, we can find contentment within ourselves regardless of our external circumstances. This approach allows us to cultivate resilience and inner strength, which are essential for navigating the challenges of modern life. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of Amor, Fati, or love of fate, teaches us to embrace the outcomes of our lives regardless of whether they align with our desires. This acceptance can alleviate the pain of jealousy. Instead of fixating on what we might lose, we can focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Imagine a man in San Francisco who, after experiencing a breakup, learns to view the relationship as a temporary chapter in his life. By accepting the situation and embracing his emotions, he finds peace and personal growth rather than succumbing to jealousy. In practical terms, applying Stoic principles to jealousy involves recognizing our attachments and understanding that they do not define our worth or happiness. We must learn to appreciate what we have while realizing that our happiness does not depend on external validation or possessions. This shift in mindset can be transformative, allowing us to build healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. As we delve deeper into this video, we will explore specific Stoic solutions for jealousy, focusing on how to cultivate inner peace and resilience. By understanding the nature of jealousy and applying Stoic wisdom, we can not only manage our emotions but also enhance our overall quality of life. 1. Understanding jealousy versus envy. Jealousy and envy are emotions that many people experience, yet they are often misunderstood and misused interchangeably. Understanding the distinction between these two feelings is crucial for personal growth and emotional well-being, especially when navigating relationships and social dynamics in our fast-paced urban lives. At its core, jealousy is the fear of losing something we already possess, often a person we care about. This emotion is commonly felt in intimate relationships. For example, imagine you're in a committed relationship in a vibrant city like Los Angeles. You might feel jealous if your partner spends time with a new colleague who is charming and attractive. This jealousy arises not just from the fear of your partner's attraction to someone else, but from the underlying anxiety that you might lose them. This emotion can lead to feelings of insecurity, suspicion, and even anger, creating a toxic cycle that can harm the relationship. In contrast, envy is the desire for what someone else has. It stems from feeling inadequate or unhappy with our own situation compared to others. For instance, consider a woman in New York City who sees her friend flaunting a new luxury car or a stunning apartment. Instead of feeling happy for her friend's success, she might feel a pang of envy, wishing she had those same possessions. This feeling can lead to resentment toward her friend, causing a rift in their relationship. The Stoics believe that both jealousy and envy arise from a misplaced focus on external validation. They teach us that our worth and happiness should not depend on what others have or how others perceive us. As Epictetus wisely stated, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This perspective encourages us to look inward rather than outward, emphasizing that our emotional responses are within our control. Understanding the nature of jealousy requires acknowledging its roots. Often, jealousy is tied to our insecurities. When we feel uncertain about our value or desirability, we are more likely to experience jealousy. The fear of losing something we value can lead to irrational thoughts and behaviors. In a bustling environment like Chicago, where competition and social dynamics can be intense, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We might see colleagues getting promotions, friends entering new relationships, or acquaintances achieving personal milestones. Each comparison can trigger feelings of inadequacy, leading to jealousy. The Stoics encourage us to challenge these irrational beliefs. Instead of fixating on what we might lose, we can focus on what we can control, our actions, reactions, and thoughts. This shift in perspective can help us understand that jealousy is often a reflection of our own insecurities rather than a true assessment of our relationships or worth. A practical way to address jealousy is to practice gratitude. By acknowledging and appreciating the positive aspects of our lives, our relationships, accomplishments, and personal qualities, we can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that diminishes feelings of jealousy. For example, if you're feeling jealous of a friend's success, take a moment to reflect on your own achievements. What have you accomplished this year? What qualities do you possess that are unique and valuable? This practice can help reframe your mindset, allowing you to celebrate others without feeling threatened by their success. Another essential Stoic principle is the concept of Amor, Fati, which translates to love of fate. This idea encourages us to accept all aspects of our lives, including challenges and losses, as part of our journey. When we embrace the concept of Amor Fati, we learn to view changes and losses not as threats but as opportunities for growth. For instance, if a close friend moves away, instead of succumbing to jealousy or sadness, we can focus on the positive memories shared and the possibility of new friendships in the future. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. In the context of jealousy, this quote emphasizes that the feelings we experience are not determined by external circumstances but by our internal responses. By recognizing our thoughts' power, we can choose to respond to jealousy constructively rather than destructively. To further illustrate the difference between jealousy and envy, consider a scenario where two friends, Sarah and Emily, are both working toward career advancement. Sarah receives a promotion and Emily feels envious. Instead of celebrating Sarah's achievement, Emily allows her envy to fester, leading to a rift in their friendship. However, if Emily were to embrace the Stoic principles of gratitude and Amor Fati, she could recognize that Sarah's success does not diminish her own worth. Instead of allowing envy to cloud her judgment, she might see this as an opportunity to evaluate her career goals and take proactive steps toward her growth. Jealousy can also rear its head in familial relationships. Imagine a parent feeling jealous of the attention their partner gives to their child. This jealousy can stem from insecurities about one's role or importance within the family unit. The Stoics would advise that rather than reacting with jealousy, the parent should focus on nurturing their bond with their child and partner. By prioritizing love and connection over fear of loss, the family dynamic can flourish. In summary, understanding the difference between jealousy and envy is essential for managing these emotions effectively. Jealousy arises from the fear of losing what we value, while envy is the desire for what others possess. Both emotions can lead to destructive behaviors if left unchecked. However, by applying Stoic principles, such as focusing on our internal responses, practicing gratitude, and embracing Amor Fati, we can transform these feelings into opportunities for personal growth and deeper connections with others. As we continue exploring Stoic solutions for jealousy in the following sections, we will delve into how to apply these teachings in practical ways that can enhance our emotional resilience and improve our relationships. Rather than allowing jealousy to control us, we can learn to navigate it with wisdom and grace, ultimately leading to a more fulfilling and harmonious life. 2. The illusion of permanence. The Stoic understanding of impermanence is a cornerstone of their philosophy and offers profound insights into managing jealousy and emotional distress. In our fast-paced, ever-changing world, we often cling to the illusion of permanence, believing that our relationships, possessions, and social standings are stable and enduring. This belief can lead to feelings of jealousy when we perceive threats to these attachments. By embracing the Stoic perspective on impermanence, we can learn to navigate our emotions with greater wisdom and resilience. At its essence, the Stoic view teaches us that everything in the universe is transient. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, captured this idea beautifully when he wrote, "Bear in mind that everything that exists is already fraying at the edges and in transition." This recognition of the fleeting nature of life can be both liberating and daunting. It compels us to confront the reality that nothing is guaranteed, including the people and things we value most. The idea that everything, including our relationships and successes, can change or disappear at any moment is a critical realization that can help us manage feelings of jealousy. Consider a scenario involving a couple living in bustling New York City. They have built a life together, complete with shared dreams, a lovely apartment, and a vibrant social circle. However, when one partner begins to spend time with a new group of friends, the other may experience feelings of jealousy. The fear of losing the relationship can create insecurity and anxiety, leading to conflict and misunderstandings. The root of this jealousy lies in the belief that their relationship is permanent, and any perceived threat to that permanence can trigger intense emotions. To counteract these feelings, the Stoic approach encourages us to appreciate the present moment without clinging to the idea that it will last forever. By acknowledging that all relationships are subject to change, we can shift our focus from fear and anxiety to gratitude for the time spent together. This perspective fosters a deeper connection, as we learn to value the quality of our interactions rather than fixating on the possibility of loss. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely stated, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." This quote reminds us that while we may worry about the future, the only moment we truly possess is the present. Another poignant example can be found in the workplace. Imagine an ambitious professional in Chicago who has worked tirelessly to achieve a managerial position. When a new colleague is hired and quickly gains recognition, the manager may feel a surge of jealousy. The underlying belief is that their status is threatened, leading to feelings of inadequacy. This scenario illustrates how our attachments to titles and positions can create insecurity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle encourages us to reflect on how we respond to perceived threats. Instead of viewing a new colleague as a competitor, the Stoic mindset invites us to see them as an opportunity for collaboration and growth. To cultivate this understanding of impermanence, we can practice mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness encourages us to be present in the moment, appreciating what we have without clinging to it. For instance, during a meditation session, we might focus on our breath and the sensations in our bodies, acknowledging that these experiences are transient. By training our minds to embrace the present moment, we can reduce our attachment to external outcomes and cultivate a sense of inner peace. As Aurelius also noted, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. A practical exercise for embracing impermanence involves journaling. Write down the things you cherish, such as relationships, achievements, or possessions. Next to each item, reflect on its transient nature. For example, if you write about a close friendship, consider how this relationship has evolved over time, how it has deepened, changed, or even faced challenges. This practice can help you appreciate the beauty in the present while recognizing that change is a natural part of life. It can also prepare you mentally for the eventuality of loss, making it less painful when it occurs. Moreover, the Stoics emphasize the importance of developing resilience in the face of change. Seneca stated, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." This quote reminds us that embracing change, rather than resisting it, requires strength. When we acknowledge that loss and change are inevitable, we can prepare ourselves emotionally for the transitions that life brings. This preparation can reduce the intensity of jealousy when we perceive threats to what we hold dear. Imagine a person in San Francisco who experiences the end of a long-term relationship. Instead of succumbing to jealousy and bitterness over their partner's new relationship, they can adopt a Stoic mindset. By reflecting on the impermanence of their love, they can find solace in the memories shared and the lessons learned. Embracing the idea that this relationship was a valuable chapter in their life allows them to move forward with grace and acceptance. This perspective is beautifully summed up in the words of Epictetus. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. As we cultivate an understanding of impermanence, we may also find that our fears of loss diminish. The more we accept that nothing in life is permanent, the less we cling to the idea that we must protect what we have at all costs. This shift in mindset can lead to healthier, more fulfilling relationships, as we learn to appreciate our loved ones for who they are rather than what they represent. In summary, the Stoic understanding of impermanence is a powerful tool for managing feelings of jealousy. By recognizing that everything is subject to change, we can shift our focus from fear and anxiety to gratitude and appreciation. This perspective encourages us to value our relationships and experiences in the present moment, rather than clinging to the illusion of permanence. As we continue to explore Stoic solutions for jealousy, we will uncover additional principles and practices that can help us navigate the complexities of our emotions. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics, we can learn to cultivate resilience, deepen our connections, and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. One that is enriched by the understanding that change is an inherent part of our human experience. 3. Insecurity, the root of jealousy. Insecurity is a powerful emotion that often underlies feelings of jealousy. When we feel uncertain about our worth or value, we may project those insecurities onto our relationships and surroundings, leading to a distorted perception of reality. The Stoics understood this dynamic well, emphasizing the importance of inner strength and self-awareness in managing our emotions. By exploring the nature of insecurity and its connection to jealousy, we can uncover effective Stoic solutions to help us navigate these complex feelings. At its core, insecurity stems from a lack of confidence in oneself. It might arise from past experiences, societal pressures, or comparisons to others. For instance, consider a young professional in Los Angeles who has just entered the competitive job market. As she sees her peers landing impressive roles and gaining recognition, she begins to feel inadequate. This insecurity can manifest as jealousy toward those who seem to have it all figured out. Instead of celebrating her friends' successes, she may find herself feeling resentful, believing that their achievements highlight her own shortcomings. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus provides a valuable perspective on this issue when he states, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This quote encourages us to reflect on our desires and what truly brings us happiness. When we focus too much on external validations, such as promotions, relationships, or material possessions, we become vulnerable to jealousy and insecurity. Instead, the Stoics suggest that we cultivate a sense of contentment within ourselves, independent of what others have. To combat insecurity, we can work on building our self-esteem and resilience. One effective Stoic practice is negative visualization, which involves contemplating the worst-case scenario. This technique can help us appreciate what we have while recognizing that loss is a natural part of life. For example, if our young professional in Los Angeles were to engage in negative visualization, she might imagine losing her job or facing rejection in her career pursuits. By acknowledging these fears and preparing for them mentally, she can build resilience and reduce her feelings of jealousy when she sees her peers succeed. Another crucial aspect of addressing insecurity is understanding the concept of self-worth. Many people tie their self-esteem to external factors, such as job titles or relationships. However, the Stoics remind us that our true worth comes from our character and actions. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote encapsulates the Stoic belief that our thoughts and perceptions shape our reality. When we internalize this idea, we begin to see that our worth is inherent and not contingent on others' opinions or achievements. To cultivate this sense of self-worth, we can practice self-reflection and mindfulness. Taking time to evaluate our values and strengths allows us to recognize our unique contributions to the world. For instance, instead of focusing on what others have achieved, we can list our own accomplishments and qualities that make us proud. By celebrating our individuality, we can diminish the grip of insecurity and reduce the likelihood of jealousy arising in our relationships. Additionally, building strong, supportive relationships can help counteract feelings of insecurity. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences can create an environment where we feel valued and appreciated. In contrast, toxic relationships can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy and jealousy. For example, imagine a person who constantly compares herself to her friends, whose achievements seem more significant. If her friends are supportive and encouraging, she is more likely to feel secure and content. Conversely, if they engage in negative comparisons or competition, her insecurities may deepen, fueling jealousy. The Stoics also encourage us to practice gratitude as a means of combating insecurity. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from what we lack. This practice can help us cultivate a more positive mindset and reduce feelings of jealousy. For example, if we take time each day to reflect on the things we appreciate, our health, relationships, and opportunities, we train our minds to recognize the abundance in our lives. As Seneca wisely stated, "A great mind is like a river. It only flows in one direction." By directing our thoughts toward gratitude, we can create a positive flow that diminishes insecurities. Moreover, it's essential to recognize that everyone experiences insecurity at times. Social media can exacerbate these feelings, as we often compare our lives to the curated images of others. However, it's important to remember that these portrayals are often not reflective of reality. Many people struggle with their insecurities, even if they appear confident online. By acknowledging this shared human experience, we can foster empathy and understanding rather than jealousy. As we delve deeper into our insecurities, we can also uncover the underlying beliefs that contribute to these feelings. Many insecurities stem from societal expectations or internalized messages about success and worthiness. For instance, if we believe that we must achieve specific milestones by a certain age, we may feel inadequate when we see others meeting those benchmarks. The Stoics teach us to challenge these beliefs and assess whether they align with our values and aspirations. This process of self-examination can help us separate our worth from external measures of success. Finally, embracing the Stoic practice of Amor Fati, or love of fate, can be a transformative way to address insecurity. By accepting the reality of our circumstances and recognizing that everything happens for a reason, we can find peace in the face of uncertainty. For instance, if we experience a setback in our careers or relationships, instead of viewing it as a personal failure, we can see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. This mindset shift can reduce feelings of jealousy and help us cultivate resilience. In conclusion, insecurity is a powerful emotion that often underlies feelings of jealousy. By understanding the nature of insecurity and its connection to our self-worth, we can apply Stoic principles to manage these emotions effectively. Through practices like negative visualization, gratitude, and self-reflection, we can build resilience and a sense of inner strength. The Stoics remind us that our true worth comes from within, independent of external validations. By embracing our individuality and cultivating supportive relationships, we can diminish feelings of insecurity and jealousy, leading to healthier and more fulfilling connections with others. As we continue exploring Stoic solutions for jealousy in the next section, we will uncover how recognizing and accepting our insecurities can empower us to navigate our emotions with grace and wisdom. By applying these teachings, we can transform our relationships and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life grounded in Stoic principles. For Amor Fati, embracing outcomes. Amor Fati, a Latin phrase meaning love of fate, encapsulates a profound Stoic principle that encourages individuals to accept and embrace all aspects of life, including the challenges and setbacks that come our way. Rather than resisting or resenting our circumstances, Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge and even appreciate them as necessary parts of our journey. This mindset can be incredibly powerful, particularly when it comes to managing feelings of jealousy and insecurity in our relationships and personal lives. The concept of Amor Fati invites us to view our experiences, not just the pleasant ones, but also the difficult and painful ones, as essential components of our growth. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote in his Meditations, "You must accept the fact that you are in the world and that you will never be free of it." This acceptance is a cornerstone of Stoic thought and serves as a reminder that life's challenges are not obstacles to be avoided, but opportunities to learn and grow. Consider a scenario involving a woman named Mia, who lives in San Francisco. Mia has been in a committed relationship for several years, but recently, her boyfriend has expressed interest in exploring new connections. The fear of losing him fills Mia with anxiety and jealousy. Instead of allowing these feelings to consume her, she reflects on the Stoic principle of Amor Fati. By recognizing that change is a natural part of life, Mia can begin to view her situation differently. Rather than resisting the possibility of loss, she embraces it as an opportunity for personal growth, whether that means strengthening her sense of self-worth or discovering new paths for happiness. Embracing Amor Fati requires a significant mindset shift. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we should ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" This question empowers us to take control of our emotional responses and see challenges as avenues for growth. By reframing our thoughts in this way, we can reduce feelings of jealousy when we perceive threats to our relationships or status. A practical example of this can be found in the workplace. Imagine a professional named Alex who has been striving for a promotion. After months of hard work, he learns that a colleague has received the promotion instead. Initially, Alex feels a surge of jealousy and disappointment. However, by applying the principle of Amor Fati, he begins to reframe his perspective. Instead of viewing his colleague's success as a personal failure, he reflects on the skills he has developed during the process and considers how he can use this experience to further his career. This new mindset allows Alex to focus on his growth rather than dwell on resentment. The practice of Amor Fati also encourages us to let go of the need for control over external circumstances. The Stoics believed that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote encapsulates the essence of Amor Fati. By accepting our circumstances and focusing on our reactions, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience. In relationships, the concept of Amor Fati can be particularly transformative. For instance, consider a man named David who has been dating someone for several months. He begins to feel anxious as he notices that she spends time with other friends, fearing that he might lose her. Instead of succumbing to jealousy, David practices Amor Fati by recognizing that relationships are inherently fluid. He understands that while he cannot control whether she chooses to be with him or not, he can control how he engages with his own feelings. By embracing the possibility of loss, David learns to appreciate the time they share without clinging to it. This acceptance not only alleviates his jealousy, but also strengthens their bond, as he becomes more present and supportive. Another critical aspect of embracing Amor Fati is recognizing that every experience, good or bad, contributes to our overall journey. This perspective aligns with the Stoic belief that adversity can lead to personal growth. As Seneca remarked, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. By viewing challenges as opportunities to build character, we can shift our focus from jealousy and insecurity to resilience and empowerment. To cultivate a mindset of Amor Fati, we can engage in reflective practices that promote acceptance and gratitude. One effective method is to keep a journal where we document our experiences, both positive and negative, and reflect on the lessons learned. For example, after experiencing a setback, we can write about what we gained from the situation, how it has shaped us, and how we can apply those lessons moving forward. This practice helps us internalize the Stoic belief that every experience is a stepping stone to greater wisdom. Additionally, incorporating mindfulness practices can enhance our ability to embrace Amor Fati. Mindfulness teaches us to be present in the moment and to accept our thoughts and feelings without judgment. By cultivating mindfulness, we can observe our emotions, such as jealousy, without becoming overwhelmed by them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, reflect, and choose our responses based on Stoic principles. A real-life example of Amor Fati can be seen in the story of a well-known entrepreneur who faced numerous failures before achieving success. After being rejected by investors multiple times, he embraced these setbacks as essential learning experiences rather than signs of inadequacy. By adopting a mindset of Amor Fati, he learned to view each rejection as a valuable lesson that ultimately led him to refine his business model and pitch. His success story serves as a testament to the power of accepting our circumstances and using them as catalysts for growth. In summary, Amor Fati is a transformative Stoic principle that encourages us to embrace all aspects of life, including challenges and setbacks. By accepting our circumstances and reframing our thoughts, we can reduce feelings of jealousy and insecurity. This mindset shift empowers us to focus on our reactions and personal growth rather than clinging to the illusion of control. As we continue our exploration of Stoic solutions for jealousy, we will uncover additional principles and practices that can help us navigate our emotions with grace and wisdom. By embracing the wisdom of Amor Fati, we can cultivate resilience, deepen our connections, and ultimately lead more fulfilling lives. It reminds us that life is not merely a series of events to be endured, but a journey to be embraced, filled with opportunities for growth and self-discovery. As we learn to love our fate, we open ourselves to the richness of our experiences, allowing us to navigate life's complexities with confidence and grace. 5. The nature of attachment. Understanding the nature of attachment is essential for managing jealousy and cultivating emotional well-being. In our relationships and interactions, we often develop deep attachments to people, possessions, and status. While these attachments can bring joy and fulfillment, they can also lead to significant emotional turmoil when we fear losing what we value. The Stoics provide valuable insights into the nature of attachment, emphasizing the importance of recognizing the impermanence of all things and cultivating a mindset of detachment. At its core, attachment refers to our emotional bonds with people and things. These connections can enhance our lives, providing comfort, support, and love. For example, consider a man named James, who has a close friendship with a colleague at work. Their bond has grown over years of shared experiences, from late-night project deadlines to celebratory happy hours. However, when James learns that his friend has been promoted and will be moving to another city, he feels a surge of jealousy and anxiety. The thought of losing this important connection creates a sense of insecurity and fear. The Stoics teach us that while it is natural to form attachments, we must also recognize that nothing in life is permanent. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that everything is just a moment. This understanding can help us navigate feelings of jealousy by recognizing that our emotional pain often stems from our attachment to the idea of permanence. When we cling to the belief that our relationships or possessions will last forever, we set ourselves up for disappointment and heartache. To address this inherent tension between attachment and impermanence, the Stoics advocate for a balanced approach to relationships. They encourage us to appreciate the present moment without becoming overly attached to the outcome. For instance, James can choose to celebrate his friend's promotion rather than focus on the fear of loss. By shifting his perspective, he can cherish the memories they've created together and embrace the possibility of new connections in the future. This mindset not only alleviates feelings of jealousy, but also fosters a healthier, more resilient outlook. Another essential aspect of understanding attachment is recognizing the difference between healthy attachment and unhealthy fixation. Healthy attachment involves forming deep emotional bonds while maintaining a sense of independence and self-worth. In contrast, unhealthy fixation occurs when we derive our self-esteem solely from our relationships or possessions. This dependency can lead to jealousy, as we fear losing what we perceive as integral to our identity. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely noted, "Never say, 'I have lost it,' but 'I have returned it.'" This quote emphasizes the temporary nature of our attachments and encourages us to view relationships and possessions as gifts rather than possessions. By adopting this mindset, we can cultivate a sense of gratitude for what we have while remaining open to the inevitability of change. Consider another scenario involving a woman named Sarah. Sarah has invested much of her self-worth in her role as a mother. When her children begin to grow up and seek independence, she feels a profound sense of loss and jealousy towards other mothers whose children seem to have a closer bond with them. Sarah's attachment to her identity as a mother creates insecurity, as she fears losing her children's affection and connection. The Stoic perspective encourages Sarah to recognize that her children's growth is a natural part of life, and that her value as a person is not solely tied to her role as a mother. To help Sarah navigate these feelings, she can practice gratitude for the time she has spent with her children and reflect on the lessons she has learned as a parent. By focusing on the positive aspects of her relationship with her children, she can cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is less dependent on their presence. This shift in perspective allows Sarah to embrace her children's independence while fostering a supportive and loving environment. Furthermore, the Stoics advocate for developing a sense of detachment that does not diminish our capacity to love or care for others. Detachment does not mean withdrawing from relationships. Rather, it involves recognizing that our happiness should not be contingent upon external factors. Seneca stated, "A good character, when it is fully developed, will be able to bear the loss of all that is dear to it." This resilience allows us to experience love and connection while understanding that loss is an inherent part of life. To cultivate this healthy detachment, we can engage in practices that promote self-awareness and emotional resilience. One effective method is to regularly reflect on our relationships and attachments. This practice can involve journaling about our feelings and identifying the sources of our emotional pain. By examining our attachments, we can gain insight into whether they stem from healthy connections or unhealthy dependencies. Additionally, mindfulness techniques can help us develop greater awareness of our emotions and attachments. Through mindfulness meditation, we can learn to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice allows us to recognize when we are clinging to attachments or experiencing jealousy, creating space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. A practical exercise for fostering healthy attachment involves intentionally practicing gratitude for the people and experiences in our lives. Each day, we can take a moment to reflect on what we appreciate about our relationships, whether it's a supportive friend, a loving partner, or a fulfilling job. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from fear of loss to appreciation for the present, fostering a healthier emotional state. Moreover, the Stoics encourage us to engage in the practice of negative visualization. This technique involves contemplating the potential loss of what we hold dear. While it may seem counterintuitive, this practice can help us appreciate our relationships and possessions more deeply. For example, if James were to engage in negative visualization, he might imagine his friend moving away and reflect on the positive memories they've created together. This exercise can help him appreciate the value of their friendship without clinging to the fear of loss. In conclusion, understanding the nature of attachment is crucial for managing jealousy and fostering emotional well-being. The Stoics remind us that while attachments can enrich our lives, they can also lead to insecurity and pain when we cling too tightly to the idea of permanence. By cultivating a mindset of acceptance and gratitude, we can navigate our emotions with greater resilience. Embracing the temporary nature of relationships and possessions allows us to appreciate what we have while remaining open to change and growth. As we continue to explore Stoic solutions for jealousy, we will uncover additional principles and practices that can help us navigate our emotions with grace and wisdom. By applying these teachings, we can transform our relationships and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. One that is enriched by the understanding that change is an inherent part of our human experience. 6. Virtue as the source of true happiness. In the quest for happiness, many people seek fulfillment in external factors such as relationships, possessions, or social status. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that true happiness comes from virtue, which is rooted in our character and actions. By focusing on cultivating virtue, we can develop a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not reliant on external circumstances. This understanding can be transformative, especially when navigating feelings of jealousy and insecurity. At the heart of Stoicism lies the belief that virtue is the highest good. According to the Stoics, living a virtuous life means aligning our actions with principles such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In doing so, we cultivate resilience and strength, enabling us to face challenges with grace and composure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This quote underscores the importance of our mindset and how it shapes our experiences. When we prioritize virtue, we elevate our thoughts and actions, leading to a more fulfilling life. Consider the example of a man named Tom, who works in a competitive corporate environment in Chicago. Tom finds himself feeling jealous of a colleague who consistently receives praise and recognition for his work. Initially, Tom's envy drives him to focus on outperforming his colleague, leading to anxiety and stress. However, upon reflecting on Stoic principles, Tom realizes that true happiness does not come from external validation, but from living virtuously and doing his job to the best of his ability. By redirecting his focus toward virtue, Tom begins to approach his work with a sense of purpose rather than competition. He starts to prioritize collaboration and support for his colleagues, recognizing that helping others succeed does not diminish his own worth. This shift in mindset allows Tom to cultivate a sense of fulfillment that is independent of external recognition. He learns that happiness is found in the integrity of his actions rather than in accolades. The Stoics also emphasize that virtue leads to a flourishing life. Seneca remarked, "A good character, when it is fully developed, will be able to bear the loss of all that is dear to it." This statement highlights that a virtuous life equips us with the resilience to navigate challenges and losses. When we cultivate virtues such as courage and wisdom, we develop the strength to face adversity head-on and emerge stronger. For example, imagine a woman named Lisa who has dedicated her life to community service. She has built strong relationships within her neighborhood and has made a positive impact on the lives of many. However, when a new charity organization emerges, drawing attention away from her work, Lisa initially feels a pang of jealousy. Instead of succumbing to those feelings, she reflects on her commitment to virtue. By focusing on her values of compassion and service, Lisa chooses to collaborate with the new organization rather than view it as a threat. This decision not only alleviates her jealousy, but also enhances her sense of fulfillment, as she remains true to her principles. A key aspect of living virtuously is recognizing that our worth does not depend on external achievements. The Stoics teach that our actions and intentions define us, not the accolades we receive. As Epictetus stated, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This perspective invites us to examine our beliefs and reassess what truly matters. When we define our worth by our character and actions, rather than by external validation, we free ourselves from the shackles of jealousy and insecurity. To cultivate virtue in our lives, we can engage in practices that promote self-awareness and reflection. One effective method is the daily practice of journaling. By reflecting on our actions and decisions each day, we can identify areas where we can improve and align ourselves more closely with our values. For example, at the end of each day, we might ask ourselves questions like, "Did I act with integrity today?" Or, "How did I demonstrate compassion?" This practice encourages us to take ownership of our actions and fosters a greater commitment to living virtuously. Additionally, seeking out role models and mentors who embody Stoic virtues can inspire us to cultivate similar qualities in our lives. Surrounding ourselves with individuals who prioritize integrity and wisdom can provide valuable insights and encouragement. For instance, if we have a mentor who exemplifies resilience in the face of challenges, we can learn from their experiences and apply those lessons to our own lives. This exposure to virtuous behavior can motivate us to strive for similar qualities, leading to personal growth and fulfillment. Moreover, the Stoics encourage us to practice gratitude as a means of reinforcing our commitment to virtue. When we express gratitude for the positive aspects of our lives, we shift our focus away from envy and jealousy. A simple daily practice can involve taking a moment to acknowledge the virtues we admire in others, such as kindness, honesty, or courage. By recognizing these qualities, we can foster a sense of appreciation for the good in our lives and the people around us. As we cultivate virtue, we begin to experience a shift in our emotional landscape. Instead of feeling threatened by others' successes, we find ourselves inspired by their achievements. The Stoic philosopher Cicero said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues but the parent of all others." By embracing gratitude, we create a fertile ground for other virtues to blossom. This transformation allows us to build more meaningful connections and enhances our overall sense of well-being. In summary, the Stoic understanding of virtue as the source of true happiness provides a powerful framework for managing feelings of jealousy and insecurity. By prioritizing virtue over external validation, we cultivate a sense of inner peace and fulfillment that is resilient to life's challenges. The teachings of the Stoics remind us that our worth is defined by our character and actions, not by the accolades we receive. As we continue our exploration of Stoic solutions for jealousy, we will uncover additional practices and principles that can help us navigate our emotions with grace and wisdom. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics, we can transform our relationships and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life, one that is enriched by the understanding that true happiness comes from within. 7. Shifting focus from external to internal control. In our modern lives, it's easy to become entangled in the chaos of external circumstances. We often measure our happiness and self-worth based on what others think of us or our possessions, leading to feelings of jealousy and insecurity. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this cycle by emphasizing the importance of shifting our focus from external factors to internal control. By redirecting our attention to what we can manage, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, we cultivate a sense of empowerment and resilience. At the heart of Stoicism lies the understanding that while we cannot control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This principle is encapsulated in the famous words of Epictetus. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective invites us to consider how much of our emotional turmoil is rooted in our attachment to external outcomes. When we tie our happiness to things we cannot control, we set ourselves up for disappointment and jealousy. For instance, consider a woman named Anna who works in a highly competitive marketing firm in New York City. Anna often finds herself feeling inadequate when she sees her colleagues receiving accolades and promotions. Initially, she allows these feelings to consume her, leading to envy and resentment. However, through the practice of shifting her focus, Anna begins to recognize that her value is not determined by external recognition. She starts to concentrate on her contributions to the team, her creativity, and her personal growth. This shift in perspective allows Anna to appreciate her unique strengths and fosters a healthier mindset. The Stoic practice of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not is essential for cultivating this internal focus. The dichotomy of control, a key Stoic principle, teaches us that we should only concern ourselves with what we can influence. For example, we cannot control how others perceive us or the actions they take, but we can control our thoughts, feelings, and responses. When we internalize this concept, we gain the freedom to define our happiness based on our values rather than external validation. A practical approach to implementing this principle involves regular self-reflection. Each day, we can take a moment to assess our thoughts and feelings, asking ourselves questions such as, what situations am I trying to control that are beyond my influence? Or, how can I respond differently to challenges? This reflective practice can help us identify patterns of thinking that lead to jealousy or insecurity, empowering us to make conscious choices about how we react. Another powerful tool for shifting focus is mindfulness. Mindfulness practices encourage us to be present in the moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we can catch ourselves when we start to spiral into jealousy or comparison. For instance, if Anna finds herself feeling envious of her colleague's success, she can pause, breathe, and acknowledge her feelings without allowing them to dictate her actions. By grounding herself in the present moment, Anna can choose how to respond, whether it's reaching out to celebrate her colleague or redirecting her energy toward her own goals. The Stoics also advocate for the practice of gratitude as a means of shifting focus from external to internal. When we cultivate gratitude for what we have rather than fixating on what we lack, we can create a more positive emotional landscape. As Seneca wisely stated, "A grateful mind is a great mind which eventually attracts to itself great things." By intentionally acknowledging the blessings in our lives, we can foster a sense of contentment that is independent of external circumstances. For example, imagine a man named David who feels dissatisfied with his job. He often finds himself comparing his situation to his friends who seem to be thriving in their careers. Initially, this comparison fuels feelings of jealousy and inadequacy. However, David decides to shift his focus by practicing gratitude. He starts a daily gratitude journal, listing 3 things he appreciates about his job, whether it's supportive coworkers, learning opportunities, or the flexibility his position offers. This practice helps David reframe his perspective and recognize the value in his current situation, diminishing feelings of jealousy and promoting a sense of fulfillment. Additionally, the Stoics encourage us to engage in the practice of negative visualization, which involves contemplating the possibility of losing what we have. This technique can serve as a powerful reminder of the impermanence of life and the importance of appreciating our current circumstances. For instance, if Anna were to practice negative visualization, she might imagine what it would be like to lose her job or her friendships. This exercise can help her appreciate her current situation more deeply and cultivate a sense of gratitude for what she has rather than focusing on what others might possess. Furthermore, shifting our focus from external validation to internal fulfillment requires us to define our values and aspirations clearly. Taking the time to identify what truly matters to us allows us to align our actions with our core principles. For example, if we value creativity, we can prioritize projects and activities that allow us to express ourselves authentically, rather than seeking validation through competition or comparison. This approach fosters a sense of agency and empowerment. When we base our self-worth on our values and actions, we become less susceptible to feelings of jealousy. We learn to appreciate the unique journey we are on and the contributions we make, regardless of how others perceive us. As Marcus Aurelius asserted, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By acknowledging the power we have over our thoughts and choices, we can cultivate a resilient mindset that thrives on internal validation. As we continue to explore the Stoic solutions for managing jealousy, it's important to remember that shifting our focus takes practice and patience. It's a journey of self-discovery and growth that requires us to confront our fears and insecurities. By committing to this process and applying Stoic principles, we can transform our emotional responses and build a more fulfilling life. In conclusion, shifting our focus from external factors to internal control is a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy that can significantly enhance our emotional well-being. By recognizing what is within our control and cultivating a mindset of gratitude, we empower ourselves to navigate feelings of jealousy and insecurity with grace. The teachings of the Stoics remind us that our happiness is not contingent on external circumstances but stems from our character and actions. As we embrace this perspective, we can develop a deeper sense of fulfillment and resilience, allowing us to engage more meaningfully in our relationships and pursuits. By applying the wisdom of the Stoics, we can cultivate a life rich in virtue, authenticity, and inner peace, one that is truly our own. Applying Stoic wisdom to overcome jealousy. As we conclude our exploration of how Stoic philosophy offers profound solutions for managing jealousy, it's essential to reflect on the key insights we've uncovered. Throughout this journey, we have learned that jealousy often stems from our attachments to external factors, relationships, successes, and possessions. By embracing Stoic principles, we can shift our focus from these transient elements to what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and responses. We began by differentiating between jealousy and envy, understanding that while jealousy is rooted in the fear of losing something we value, envy arises from a desire for what others possess. Recognizing this distinction allows us to address our emotions with greater clarity. By applying the Stoic practice of self-reflection, we can learn to identify the triggers of our jealousy and respond to them constructively. We explored the concept of impermanence, learning that everything in life is subject to change. This understanding empowers us to appreciate our relationships and experiences without clinging to the illusion of permanence. Embracing the idea that change is a natural part of life helps us reduce feelings of jealousy and allows us to celebrate the present moment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, everything is just a moment, reminding us to cherish our experiences as they unfold. In our discussion of insecurity, we uncovered how feelings of inadequacy often fuel jealousy. By focusing on cultivating our self-worth and practicing gratitude, we can diminish the hold of jealousy on our lives. The Stoics teach us that true happiness comes from living virtuously, not from external validation. By redirecting our focus to our character and actions, we empower ourselves to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. The principle of Amor Fati, loving our fate, encourages us to accept our circumstances, both good and bad. By embracing the lessons that come from adversity, we can transform jealousy into opportunities for growth. This shift in mindset allows us to appreciate the richness of our experiences and fosters healthier relationships with those around us. Lastly, we learned the importance of shifting our focus from external comparisons to internal fulfillment. By defining our values and priorities, we can align our actions with what truly matters to us. Practicing mindfulness and gratitude helps us cultivate a sense of contentment that is independent of others' achievements, leading to a more fulfilling and joyful life. In conclusion, applying Stoic wisdom to overcome jealousy is a transformative journey that empowers us to take control of our emotional responses. By embracing these principles, we can cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment and resilience in our lives. Remember, as you navigate your relationships and experiences, the power to define your happiness lies within you. If you found these insights valuable, we invite you to subscribe to the STOIC VIVU channel for more enlightening content on applying Stoic philosophy to modern life. Like this video and share it with others who may benefit from these teachings, helping us spread the wisdom of Stoicism far and wide. Together, let's cultivate a community that embraces the principles of Stoic philosophy, fostering resilience and fulfillment in all aspects of life. Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery and growth. Embrace the Stoic way and remember that true happiness comes from within.